and welcome back to Slightly Twisted Female. I'm your host, Brittany Rouxx. Hey guys, I was on vacation last week and I'm back, and I need another vacation because going on a vacation with children is not a vacation. Oh God, we were down the shore. It was so nice. I was in the water a lot. I loved it, but my God, I'm so tired. I wanted to come on yesterday. And as eager as I am to kind of get back up to speed with everything, I just found out that I only put my daughter in for half-day camp this week, which was a mistake. I meant to do full day, but that's okay. So I got to go pick her up in a little bit, but I figured we could jump on. So what I wanted to start with was I wanted to just go through some headlines that I missed while I was away, and I reached out to one of my favorite content creators on Instagram is Carnal Hags. So go follow her on Instagram. She's Carnal Hags. She's awesome. I love her takes. I think she's also a moderator on r/safeguarding. So if you're on Reddit, follow her on r/safeguarding. I think it's a really good community, and also just yeah, I really like Carnal Hags. So if you are on, she's like one of those weeble wobbles. Like they keep deleting her accounts and she just kind of gets back to it. She's just awesome. She's a mother. She's just like a really straightforward, intelligent person. I really like her takes. And I reached out to her and asked her if I could use her page because she always posts like all the recent headlines and stuff. And she's someone that I just like consistently follow on Instagram. So I asked if I could use her page just to kind of like jump off on some of these headlines, and she graciously said yes. So we're going to do that. To everybody who's new to the community, welcome. Thanks for being here. Again, my name is Brittany Rouxx. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you stay up to date with all of my videos and stuff like that. You know, YouTube likes to not prioritize our work, so yeah, that way you don't miss anything. And I love this community. I'm really grateful for you guys. I hit 4,000 subscribers this week, and it's just been going up since then, so I really appreciate everyone who's been there and all the support. So let's just get right into this. All right, so in celebrity news, it's been exciting that, Mimi Rest, thank you. I love your content. Thank you. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you so much for the support. The support that you guys send me is like everything. It really allows me to keep doing this work. So thank you so much. That really means a lot. Hey, Abel. Hey, Leslie. Hey, Lita. Got the whole gang in here. Lita, oh my God. I saw you. There was a recent video came out by a TRA that was like criticizing like gender critical feminists, and it was this like long boring video, and I kind of wanted to respond to it. It's just so long and it's so boring, and it's like I can't figure out like which parts I want to respond to specifically, but I was so excited to see like Lita, I think, was in the comments. I think, what was it, Little Cat Feet was in the comments. I was like, oh, okay, the squad is here. Everybody was like, I just love seeing like all the names that I know, like checking her, being like, well, actually, like, is that accurate? It was cool. All right, so let's get into this. So while I was away, I was excited to see that some new women from Hollywood are speaking up, and especially this, God, please don't take so, okay, good. So it was so cool to see that Bette Midler, as you guys know from Hocus Pocus, my kids actually love that movie, and I love that movie growing up. I try to like keep them up to date with like some of the old school movies and stuff that I like growing up, and they really loved this one. And so it was really cool that on the eve of dropping Hocus Pocus 2, Bette Midler, who is obviously the main character in that movie, decided to speak up for women. And that is such a controversial move. You know, that was so dangerous. Like having a movie that's coming out, knowing that you have your platform, all the eyes are back on her again. It's not like she's just kind of been off into obscurity for years and no one's really checking for her social media. Right now, she's got a lot of attention back on her. You know, she's kind of trending again. She's got this upcoming movie, they're promoting it, and she used this as an opportunity to speak up for women. And I was really, really grateful to see that. So she tweeted from Bette Midler. She said, "Women of the world, we are being stripped of our rights over our bodies, our lives, and even our name. They don't call us women anymore. They call us birthing people or menstruators, and even people with vaginas. Don't let them erase you. Every human on earth owes you." And it is so powerful, and it is so true. We are the mothers of the entire earth. We are. We are the salt of the earth. And it's just so interesting to me because it's like, if you have gender dysphoria, I would imagine that using words like, vagina haver or menstruator or, large gamete producer would be more triggering than just the word woman, and it's like, it's weird. I thought all these body parts were so traumatic and triggering and hard for them to hear, yet we're now recategorizing ourselves based on body parts. It's gross and it's dehumanizing. I'm really glad to hear Bette speaking up about this on the eve of such a big thing for her. Let's see, and even in some of the comments, let's see what people are saying. They're saying, okay, so Carnal Hags says, "The silence is finally being broken. I always knew Bette couldn't have bought into this crap. Feels like we are finally turning a corner in this debate." It does. It does feel like the tide is starting to turn. And you guys have to realize, gender critical movement was such a grassroots movement. We had, the LGBTQ movement. Thank you. Lol here. Thank you. Keep it up. Thank you so much. Your avatar looks just like my cat, Zeke. So guys, seriously, the support means a lot to me. It really, really makes it so I can keep doing this work. And I love doing this. I love this community. I really enjoy it. Thank you. It's crazy because it's like the LGBTQ, they realize, if you, even just this year during Pride, it became such a corporate event. Every big corporation, rainbow flags everywhere, was doing, new exclusive gear that they were getting. Skittles, I guess, said that they were giving up their rainbow in honor of the rainbow for LGBTQ. So they did all white Skittles. It was just an opportunity for publicity stunts and selling merchandise all over the place. This has been, academia has a stranglehold. You can't say anything. People are being ousted. So this movement really came from the ground up. This is truly a grassroots movement. And, it really was started by women. And it is hard to see, even though, while I'm grateful for Matt Walsh's, using his platform to bring awareness, it's so frustrating because you'll see a lot of, the conservative bros in his comment section being like, yeah, where are all the women in this? And even Matt Walsh had made a comment being like, where are all the women, these spineless, gutless women? And there's, some new, young, I guess, ex-leftist girl who, I don't remember her name, but she started a YouTube channel and it's getting really big. And even she was saying, she was like, I just don't understand, where's all the feminists? You would think that this would be their issue. Why don't they care? And it's sweetheart, we're here. Okay, we're here. She's again, a conservative young commentator. And it's don't you understand? If this weren't such a big fight, we would have these big platforms. But the fact of the matter is we're being actively censored and silenced. And a lot of times when I'm watching people like Matt Walsh and I'm watching a lot of these conservative commentators who are just now getting into the fold, they're using all talking points that I know have been made now, for the past several years from feminists. This is all coming from feminists. And of course they're not getting quoted. Kara Dansky, Leslie, thank you. Congrats on your 4K. Thank you so much. And Leslie, you've been here from the beginning. I love my original crew. And I'm really excited to get to know some of the new people who are here. Thank you so much, guys. I'll hear talking points that I know came from people like Kara Dansky and, WDI and just a lot of the women who have been in this fight, and they're not getting their due credit. We're here. We've always been here. You know, make no mistake, liberal feminism is not real feminism. It's like, it's a masquerade. So, you know, yeah, just because you're not hearing us, maybe because, you know, you don't have your ear to the ground, that just means that your head is in the mainstream. Come down to our frequency, or come up to our frequency. You got to go off the radar a little bit to start to tune into, you know, our radio frequencies that have been here for a long time. And I'm just, you know, I'm really proud to see that the consistency, women like Carnal, Hags, and who have just stayed on path. She should have so many followers, but she keeps getting her accounts taken down. And that's the truth of so many of these rad femme accounts, so many of these, you know, women's liberationist, gender critical accounts, gender critical feminist accounts, who they get knocked down and they keep coming back. And like Kara Dansky said, this isn't about glory. It's not about, you know, no one's trying to get famous off of this. A lot of women are, you know, just have like an online persona or whatever. And it's just getting the information out there. We are our news source. We can't depend on mainstream media to report these messages. That's why we've got to support feminist news media organizations like Rouxx. I've done a lot of stories from Rouxx, 4W, for women, you know, women's liberation news media. It's really important. Just keep sharing that stuff. The more we share it, you just share it, you keep going, you just keep making stuff, make separate accounts, just keep sharing it. And we are our most important media source. That's why, you know, I don't want to sit here and I don't want to pull up a mainstream media source. I'm going to pull up somebody like Carnal, Hags, who I know is going to be sharing these hidden stories. These are the people who are really telling these like hard-hitting stories that aren't being covered. And it's so important, and this work matters, and I'm really grateful for it. And I'm grateful that it's now coming to the attention of people like Bette Midler, who again really went out on a limb. That could have tanked her upcoming movie, but she's trusting in women. And that's why we've got to support women. You know, I remember when I even came onto the YouTube scene, and I saw one of the first things that happened was I saw Vanessa Volke get, you know, attacked once again. I mean, the TRAs were just kind of recycling her as a target of somebody to go after, be like, oh yeah, you know, let's roast this turf. And I was really like kind of dismayed by how much, not only was she not really being supported by our community, but there was even like another, you know, rad femme channel who had also did a whole video attacking her for wearing like a feminine outfit one time. And it's like, you guys, we really do. We've got to be a united front. We've got to stick up for each other. People are going to go out on a limb, and we've got to support these women. We've got to show like ratio, that they're not just getting pummeled by TRAs while we're all quietly. And if it's still hard to do it from your main account or whatever, make a separate account, but make your voice heard. This is how the tide is going to start to change. And little by little, brave women, and this is what I love about older women. Older women are some of the most powerful, you know, inspiring people, because it's like that whole I don't give a fuck. I'm not here, you know, searching for a husband, or I'm not worried about my biological clock, or all these things that, you know, younger girls get so inundated with that they need to be worried about and that they buy into. It's like, and that's what I've loved about getting older. People are like, how do you feel comfortable speaking up and saying these things? And it's like, why else am I here? If not to speak up and maybe leave some small legacy, or leave some blueprint that I can give to women and say, you know what, maybe I didn't do the most amazing things on this earth, but maybe I left a small path that I could carve that you guys could take and go further with. You know, and it's wonderful about getting older, because it's like I've survived so many things at this point, and I've proven to myself I can do hard things. I can survive things. I can go through, I've been through embarrassing things. I look back and I like cringe at certain, situations that I've done or said or been involved. But I survived. You know what's crazy? All of us who are here today, you know what that means? We survived every single test that has ever been given to us. We've never failed, not one. Not one has taken us out. Not one. If that isn't enough to give you what you need, to give you the gall that you need to speak up, you really need to introspect and look at what you're really capable of. It's a wonderful thing about getting older, because it's like the more that you've been able to prove to yourself that, you know what's anyone gonna do? What, cancel me? Cancel me from who? Can't cancel me from my family. Can't cancel me from this community. You guys support me. So what the hell are you going to do? I mean, there's really nothing. It's a beautiful, liberating feeling. That's why we got to support these grassroots efforts. And we got to support people like Bette Midler, so I love it. So yeah, so she had also posted this. Let's see. Yeah, so we all need to go watch that movie, support that movie, It's exciting. And then I think there was also Macy Gray. All right, let's see what this was. Oh, wait, hold on, guys. Here, let me put it on my other. I got to turn on my. Hold on. All right, let's put this on for a second.
As a woman.
Hold on.
And I will say this, and everybody's going to hate me, but as a woman, just because you go change your parts doesn't make you a woman.
Right.
Sorry.
You feel that?
I know that for a fact.
Let's watch it again.
I will say this, and everybody's going to hate me, but as a woman, just because you go change your parts doesn't make you a woman.
Right.
Sorry.
You feel that?
I know that for a fact.
I know that for a fact. I love that. I know that for a fact. It's not about feelings or opinions or, well, what do you think? This is what it is. We're just telling the truth. That's what's so insane. And then, it was a little bit hard. I think she backtracked a tiny bit. I mean, I don't think she was really prepared for just how insane these TREs get. And again, a lot of these people are chronically online, and you got to realize a lot of the TREs who have these gender identities, a lot of this stuff was born online. These were born on Reddit and on chat groups and message boards, and again, through living through an avatar when your material reality is separate from this sort of like avatar that you've created for yourself. That's why it seems like it's so easy to just mix and match and pick and choose characteristics. People start to get confused about what's real and what's not. And so, they're online and they're ready to attack. And it's I would love to see more celebrities supporting her, but we've got to be there. Let's see. Hold on. And then Gal Extraordinary, that's my homegirl, Chris. I love her. She's been actually, I think she kind of followed me into gender critical stuff. She's my friend from my real life. And then when I started posting stuff, she started following me on my gender critical new page, and then got plugged in with everybody. I love when it's again when this whole squad is here. So I love Christina. And she goes, she's literally never given a fuck about popular opinion and has always been comfortable being herself, and I've always loved that about her. So true. So true. I mean, look, Macy Gray, that was again, and it's so many of these artists where it's crazy because art has always been about taking risks. Music has been about taking risks. It's about speaking up, going against the grain, going against the mainstream. And then suddenly it was my best friend who I grew up with. She's been my best friend since I was 4 years old, and she's a musician, and she's a professional musician. That's her only job. She tours in Europe. She, gets gigs all over the place, and she plays a lot, and she runs it like a business, and she's been doing it for years now. I mean, she pays for her apartment. She pays to travel everywhere. I mean, she's really doing it. And it was funny because we'd always talk about stuff. And she's like, you know what's crazy? I literally feel like I can't be open and honest about how I feel about things, because her and I had a lot of like similar views about stuff that was like, you know, anti-woke and all this, you know, and we were kind of like peaking together. And she was like, I can't. She was like, you know, and it's crazy because I thought art was supposed to be about that. Art was supposed to be about being able to speak up and you know, say something controversial. Now it's all about censorship. And it's like, it's all just about, you know, weird fashion. That's the only risk you're allowed to take, is just like bizarre fashion. But all that's already been done. It's already been done. You know, the most sexual stuff and the most, you know, doing these, you know, stunts on stage. It's all this very safe, sexually marketable, sexually exploitable, you know, moves. And those are the risks that are acceptable. And it's, you know, so again, it is good to see that like a lot of these musicians who did make a career off of going against the grain stylistically are actually now able to speak up and go against the grain of culture. So yeah. Let's see. Okay. All right. So let's see. So then she kind of came back. What did she say? So again, and I think a lot of us can relate to this, and I know I did. I remember when I first started peaking and I first started actually posting about it on my, like, you know, personal account. I would always have these caveats and almost like apologetic, like, oh no, I know that there are some real trans women. I know that there's some trans women that have a real trans brain. But I just think that there's some that are like, you know, just like taking it too far, and other people are jumping onto the trend. And it's like, I always felt the need to like add a caveat to be like, no, but you know, I know that I support the real trans people. I'm just saying, like, it's the other ones. And so I think we also need to like give space for, again, you know, people like Macy Gray, who has such a bigger platform than virtually any of us, right? So her backlash is going to be so much bigger. And of course, it's crazy. This is a black woman. It's a black woman who can't even speak up or talk about it. And it's another thing too, and I actually want to do a video on this, but like one of the favorite TRA talking points is that being gender critical is somehow like a white supremacist movement, that radical feminism is like a white nationalist. It's like, right, because yeah, black women don't actually care about their spaces and their identities as women. Like, well, what are you talking about? And then they get even like more racist with it. They're like, yeah, you know, because so what are we trying to say? That you know, before, black women were also not the right type of women. You know, they were also kept out of white feminism. So now this is the same thing. And it's like, you know how offensive it is to basically draw a parallel between segregationism and the dehumanization of black women and the gatekeeping of black women out of feminism to the gatekeeping of men out of feminism. Like, you're trying to say that that's somehow comparable? No, that's actually racist. That's actually like insanely offensive. That it's a white nationalist thing. What? No. And also another big red herring about it is the talking about like Two-Spirit and other, you know, the transvesti down in Brazil. And then there's also kind of like a class of, I think, like mostly intersex, but also like transgender identity type people in India. And it's like, oh, in other cultures, there's always been an understanding that sex isn't binary and that, you know, gender has, you know, there's multiple genders and all this sort of stuff. And it's like, no, again, not in the way that it's being taken with this Western idea of gender ideology. You know, we've even always acknowledged that, you know, there's effeminate gay men, that there's butch lesbian women, that there's tomboys, that there's, you know, masculine heterosexual women, that there's more effeminate straight men. Or like, I mean, look at Prince. Prince was a heterosexual man. He had female partners. He was like 5 feet tall, wore platinum heel shoes, wore makeup, and wore extremely sort of gender bending clothing. And he was a straight man. I mean, unless I'm wrong, at a minimum, he was bisexual, but I don't think I've ever heard anything about him having male partners, unless someone can correct me about that. But we've always made space for that, or there's always been, a recognition and an understanding. And that's what those other cultures are acknowledging. We can acknowledge that. We can acknowledge that people want to take on, sometimes divert from the path and take on different cultural and societal roles that are different from what we traditionally associate, with men and women. And that was a good thing to acknowledge those things. That doesn't eradicate biological reality. That doesn't somehow say that a trans woman is somehow the same as black women. Like, what are you guys talking about? Ari says, gender critical is attacking Macy Gray needs to stop. The enemies of the truth can see your lack of support. Exactly. I'm really tired of it too. So Carnal Hags says, Macy Gray defending herself from the braying mob on Twitter makes a good point. Understanding womanhood is only available to women. So Macy Gray said, I wasn't defining trans women, just women, because I know what it means to be one. I don't know what it means to be a trans woman, and I never said I did, but that goes both ways. Exactly. It's so funny. When I was watching this video last night about, it was like, attacking gender critical feminism or whatever, and it was like, and she made this disclaimer in the beginning. She's like, and I just want everyone to know who's listening, I am not trying to speak for trans women, okay? I am not trying to speak for trans. And of course, it was an actual woman who was doing the talking, a cis woman. And she's like, and it was like, she was so cautious to make sure that she's not trying to speak for trans women. She's trying to be inclusive of their feelings and da-da-da-da. But then proceeds for the next hour and 15 minutes to speak for women about how women feel about things and who women really are and what our identity should and should not include and how we should define ourselves. And then also, I got to do a video on this woman because the whole video was like insane. Goes on a whole rant about how she thinks it's so silly and ludicrous that gender critical women take offense to things like menstruators and, whatever, like penis haver or chest feeding. She thought that was so silly, but then later on in the video talks about how it's so important that people have words to describe themselves and that language matters and that people need language to talk about their experiences and their human reality. But of course she was defending that for trans identified males, but that's not acceptable for women. I like the constant just the constant like hypocrisy gets so, it's almost like, how do you not see it? Both Macy Gray and Bette Midler caved to the mob. You know what though? Like I said, we still need to be supportive because the fact of the matter is this is going to be a critical moment. Because if they get no support from us and if they see us turn, all of us, look, a lot of us who are speaking up don't have the same stuff to lose. Bette Midler has a video coming, a new movie coming out. We don't know what Macy Gray's got going on. They have careers that are dependent on their public persona. They have a lot more on the line. And it's like the Penn girls, the girls at Penn. They were so afraid to come out during the season because I really do believe that they didn't believe that they were going to have the support to weather the storm. And if we turn our back on women who went and used their platform to speak up for us and then, get totally dogpiled, and then we start adding to it, they're never going to want to do that again. Never. They'll keep all of their comments to themselves. We got to let them know, let them see that there is a pushback from us too. We can't turn our backs on people like this. Like Ari's saying, we've got to let them know it is hard. Even in the beginning, I kept giving caveats of, well, I actually don't mean it just like that. It's hard. But then once I started looking around me, it was you guys who made it easy for me. It was people like Carnal Hags who made it easy for me. It was other women holding the line and doing so from their own faces, from their own names. And I was like, you know what? And also they would swoop in and also have my back sometimes, like on Instagram or things like that. And it would be like the whole crew would show up. You know how much that meant to me? That made it so that I could continue. That's why I'm able to have this channel. Had nobody had my back, and then had, like, you know, maybe when I backpedaled once or twice, and then all of like the gender criticals and radical feminists, had they all attacked me, I would have been like, you know what, never mind. But it was the women who stuck by me and who spoke up for me and helped me. I don't have anyone ever fight my battles for me. I've never had that. And to turn around and actually have women fighting on my behalf, speaking up for me, arguing for me, it was like, I've never had that before. That was such a good feeling for me. So yeah, we've got to give that to women. We have to give them time. Let them, like, you know, let the TRAs show their ass. All right, let's see. Let's talk about this real quick. Damn, I got to get going soon. I hate that I don't have full day. All right, triathlon becomes the first British sport to ban all transgender women from competing in female events at an elite and grassroots level. Excellent. It's starting. I also want to say HB 972, House Bill 972, that was going through Pennsylvania. You saw me with Connie, Radfem Jen. We were in Harrisburg. Kara Dansky was there. We went around door to door to all the senators trying to give out information. We were passing out literature about this bill. We stood next to Women for America. We had a bunch of Republican support, and we actually had one Democrat supporter, and we were able to get it through the Senate. When it got to the desk of Pennsylvania Governor Wolf, he vetoed it and basically said, I was, very happy to veto this transphobic bill, this hateful bill that is meant to keep young transgender girls out of sports. First of all, it's not keeping anybody out of sports. They have a team. The boys team. The male team. If you want to change the name to male, call it that. The AMAB team. The male team. That's who they can play with. This isn't about keeping them out of sports. Who will keep out of sports are the girls who don't want to get hurt, who don't want to be forced to be, expose themselves to a male, who, especially a lot of these girls are like, menstruating for the first time, getting their periods, and now have to worry about changing with a boy in the locker room. Especially these boys who, again, are developing fetishes and stuff. And a lot of these kids have gotten addicted to hardcore porn before they've ever had their first kiss. Can't tell me that that's not relevant. Ari says, Macy is our comrade. She absolutely is. Leslie Farrington says, I'm so glad I got medical retirement from social work with children and families. I wouldn't have been able to keep my mouth shut. Oh, my God. Do you know that I almost got a job with children and youth? I was actually going to work with basically like Child Protective Services. I got hired. Listen, this like makes me so mad. I beat out like 2,000 different applicants. And I was actually really excited about this job. I really wanted to work with families and just kind of like people who, especially mothers who are going through difficult times. And this was after I decided to slow down from being like a doula and working like, with midwives and working, doing midwifery and stuff like that in my birth work. And I got hired by children and youth to be like a case manager. And I passed as like Spanish speaking. So I was going to get like a 8% raise, salary raise. I was going to have like full benefits. It was just going to be, I was really excited. It was really close to my house. It was like perfect hours, like exactly the hours that my kids were at school and I was going to get back in time to pick them up. You know why I ended up not getting the job? I passed all the FBI clearances. I have totally no criminal record whatsoever. I've never gotten in trouble in my life. I got like arrested one time for something really stupid and it got dropped like immediately, like a long time ago. But do you want to know why I ended up not getting it? Because my ex-husband, who had like all these petty misdemeanors and stuff like that, like DUIs and stupid stuff like possession of like a bong, whatever, didn't have a license, and he took my car a couple years ago and gotten it. I think he was like high or something, got in an accident, took out a mailbox, did all this damage to a property, got out of the car and abandoned my car, basically on the people's property, and got an Uber home. And I was like, where's my car? He's like, oh, I got in an accident. I'm going to go back and like, you know, dig the car out and all this stuff. And I was like, oh my God, do it now. Didn't do it. By the time he, you know, waited hours and hours and hours, by the time he actually got there, they had towed the car. I ended up getting a ticket in the mail and saying it was me. And then I got like a criminal, I think like citation or something, basically saying that I had like done like a hit and run, like damaged property and left. And they put it on because the car was registered in my name and there was he never stuck around to like report it to the police. And I like paid the fine and I did all of this stuff and I thought it was gone. When I went and they were like literally they had hired me. I'd passed everything. And then like the lady called me back. She's like, I just got a call from HR. And they said that you have like a driving history from like less than 3 years ago. And I was like, what? I was like, no, I don't. And then they were like, I was like, can you just send me over? And I looked at it. It was like, oh my God. I was like, you fucking kidding me. And I was like, please, that wasn't me. Da, 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 da. And they're like, we're sorry because you have to drive to houses and stuff like that. Like we have to be super strict. I was so mad. Anyway, I would have really liked doing that. That was too long of a tangent. So, all right. So Governor Wolf vetoed HB 972. So we have more work to do in Pennsylvania, but it was great to see that we got it through the Senate. And let's see. Carnal Hags says, sanity returns to triathlons. Quote, we concluded that triathlon is a gender-affected sports. See, again, it's a sex-affected sport. They always say that sex and gender are two different things. It's not a gender-affected sport. It's a sex-affected sport. Again, it's like they like, I'm glad that they did that, but this is why bowing to their language has to stop, because we're not saying what we mean. It is a sex-affected sport. And that means that athletes who are born male and have an advantage over athletes who are born female. And this advantage is significant in swim, bike, and run, said British triathlon chief Andy Solomon. We also concluded that physiological advantages are retained by testosterone suppression, I guess even during testosterone suppression. The new policy will require two categories: a female category, which will be open to athletes who are female sex at birth, and an open category, which will be open to all athletes, including men and transgender athletes. There you go. Article at r/safeguarding. Again, go follow r/safeguarding. I'll do one more and then actually I gotta go. I'm so mad. I might be able to come back on. Let's see. Let's just go back to Macy Gray really quick. This is disgusting. So luckily J.K. Rowling supported Macy Gray by retweeting her. Again, this is why it's so important. We've got to have each other's backs. We've got to. Macy Gray says, all of you coming on my page threatening me and calling me names just because I said something you don't agree with, be whatever you want to be and fuck off. It's exhausting. I mean, it literally is. They'll just beat you down. And we don't know what other people are going through. We don't know what this woman's going through in her life. Not everybody has the stamina or the time to sit there and deal. These people are crazy. They're absolutely ravenous. I love that J.K. Rowling at least has enough of just stamina to kind of play it back, and and she's not afraid of them. So she kind of socks it back to them. But like, not everybody has the time to sit there and make this their whole life. Got to be supportive. We've got to support women like this, even if it seems like they're backtracking. Know that they are not really backtracking. Just know that. Know that when women speak up, what they say the first time, that's what they really mean. Okay? And if they're just beaten down and they have to like issue an apology, know that's an apology that was coerced. Okay? That would be like still be rape as far as I'm concerned. If it were like, about getting consent for sex. Consent is an enthusiastic yes. It's not after you beat down a woman and you harass her and beg her and bother her and you refuse to let her leave and you threaten her and you call her names and then all of a sudden she gives you a weary and exhausted yes. God, fine, please just get this over with so I can go home. That's not consent. Her saying just be whatever you want to be, I don't care anymore, is not an admission that she doesn't, it's not her really disowning or disavowing what she said before. It's that we don't always know what people have going on in their lives and whether or not they can keep up with just dealing with these people. Carnal Hags says, Macy Gray has had enough. It's nice to see she's getting loving support from J.K. Rowling. It's time to buy stream all of her albums. Support her. Support her. We've got to support each other, okay? And I'm really grateful to see J.K. Rowling supporting her. Mark Ferrari World says, typical response from the so-called tolerant left and so-called tolerant trans activists who only want to speak their truth. As soon as you disagree with their ideology, then their true colors always come threatening, abusing, name-calling, death threats from these unhinged fantasy role-playing narcissists. Exactly. Goddess Guided said, quote, I have nothing but love for the LGBTQ plus and transgender community and have been a supporter since day one, Grace stated to Billboard. Quote, my statement on Piers Morgan was grossly misunderstood. Again, we've got to understand that's not really a backtrack. Let's just see who responded to that. See, that's annoying. Someone goes, yeah, I don't get the hype. She immediately backtracked. You guys, abused women who get abused. Again, that's like saying a woman who got beat down and abused and then finally just gave you uttered a weary and exhausted yes. Oh, well, she gave consent. Didn't you hear? She said yes. She said no 50 million times. But then she finally said yes after you harassed her. Oh, case closed. Consent was given. That's not the same thing. And for, all of us to just turn around and say, yeah, screw her. Again, we don't have the same to lose as she does. I don't know, who she's supporting, what kind of family she has, who is depending on her. We'll do one more. I gotta get going. And it says, divide and conquer is such a simple yet incredibly effective strategy. Do you really think the right-wing media power give a F about women's rights and quote, keeping safe spaces for women? It's all smokescreen and you eat it up believing they will protect you. It's them you need protecting from. Whilst you're busy attacking an already marginalized group, your focus is diverted from the patriarchal structures that actually do you and all women harm. Trans people have never been and never will be a threat to you or your rights. Wake the F up. Oh, God. As if trans is not the latest iteration of the patriarchy. I love the assumption that patriarchy is only upheld and revered by only the right wing, but the left wing men, they are these big liberators. These are the male feminists. No, this is just left wing's vision of what patriarchy is. They want women available to them in all ways. In all the women, and they can become women, and there's no boundaries. Stop it. Again, like you just said, it's divide and conquer. That's the divide and conquer. All the right wing. No. Left wing men are just as bad in their own right. Marginal men, men, these middle class white men, they're just so marginalized. They just need our support. Oh, Christ. All right, I gotta go, guys. It was good catching up with you guys. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'm gonna start making some new comments or content soon. This week is just gonna be tough because I only have half days. Oh, I'm really tired, but I really missed you guys. It's good to see you. Please share my content. Because like I said, it's only through, all of this has really been totally grassroots, building this platform. You guys sharing my stuff, liking it, coming to my lives. I appreciate it so much. All of the donations and support really makes it so I can keep doing this. And I don't feel like I'm taking away from my family. I really appreciate you guys. I will see you guys soon. If anybody wants to send me any stories, my email address is aslightlytwistedfemale@gmail.com. And I will see you guys on the next stream. Bye.